New Zealand is hit by Canada-style freedom convoy.
Here's a summary of the article.
New Zealand's capital was partially brought to a standstill today as a freedom convoy of COVID protesters rolled into town and blocked roads around Parliament. Hundreds of cars, trucks and motorbikes carrying thousands of people drove from across the country and converged in Wellington on Tuesday morning to protests against Jacinda Ardern's hardline pandemic policies. The protest mirrors a similar demonstration in Canada, where a freedom convoy began rolling across the country in January protesting a mandate that will force truckers crossing the border into America to be vaccinated. In New Zealand, Wellington local Stu Main said the protesters felt their concerns about rights being eroded were not being heard by the government. New Zealand, where more than 76% of the population is full vaccinated against COVID, has mandated vaccine for some professions, such as police, doctors and soldiers. New Zealand was spared the worst of the pandemic after it closed its borders and implemented strict lockdowns, limiting the spread of the virus. With about 77% of New Zealanders fully vaccinated, Ms. Ardern has also promised she will not impose more lockdowns.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
They're taking the trucks to Isengard.
One rig to rule them all.
How the hell did the trucks cross the Pacific?
Cork and float across like Oregon Trail.
That's how you get dysentery. It's a long way. Should we ration our food?
Yes, mega rations. Only the strong will survive.
Oh man, this is spreading like COVID. Canberra too. It's funny because a right-wing politician met with some and they all started arguing about why they were there and if they should be talking to politicians.
There was a Croatian Nazi flag outside a US parliament. They arrived demanding to speak to politicians on a day when parliament wasn't sitting. Not the sharpest cranes in the pack.
My uncle in Perth is trying to rally the anti-vax warriors to organize protests and serve politicians with lawsuits, despite not having hired a lawyer, accusing them of treason, under threat of citizens' arrests should the police not arrest the traitors. You can probably guess at how successful they were. Canada style. Not exactly how I hoped events like this would be described. Sigh.
A part of me sort of gets a sick satisfaction from knowing that you guys get to feel how it has been like being a US citizen, but honestly yeah, it sucks and it would be much better if these issues didn't exist.
Damn it. As a Canadian that knows way more than I want to about Texas and rips on Texas all the time for how corrupt and anti-democratic it is, you fucking got me. We're the baddies now, by associations with a bunch of GOP-funded neo-Nazis calling themselves patriots here in Canada. If you're ever this way, I owe you a beer.
If anything, our neighbors up north need to realize that this is a propaganda issue, and it can affect anybody. This wasn't just as simple as, oh look at those typical Americans doing what typical Americans do, while us more civilized Canadians would never fall for such things, which is borderline how some of the comments from Canadians came across over the past few years. This can, and is, spreading like wildfire, because propaganda works.
Legit. It was pretty much the Benny Hill version of the convoy. Oh, the stories. The dude who derailed the convoy by dropping in home for a cup of tea. The southern participants that forgot that you needed a vax pass to get on the ferry. The participant who said he was picking up someone called Shannon and the bunch of cars that then drove to the town Shannon. The social media trolling. The dude who stole a bunch of donations and is now working with the police. The list goes on and on.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.